Hey everybody, I'm Den Haring. Welcome back to my channel, Fish Den 365. We're getting ready to go fishing out here this afternoon. It's March 16th. We're not even in spring yet, but we've had some warm days, and so the bass are starting to come up and they're starting to eat, so could be pretty good. But before we do that, I thought I would talk to you about the 5 baits of spring. Okay, so we're quickly going to go through these 5 baits that you got to have for springtime, and we're going to talk about it from when it's coldest to when it gets warmer. So we're in very early spring. We're not even in spring yet officially, but we're in the point now where the water temperatures are starting to rise. And the first bait that you want to think about when it comes to spring is a suspending jerkbait. Now what we're going to do is talk about these 5 baits today, but then in detail we're going to go over each one of these in future videos to get ready for the spring fishing. First one, suspending jerkbait. This is the bait that works very good when the water's in the 40s, all through the 40s into the low 50s. This is the best bait to throw as long as you have the water clarity that is required to fish it. You have to have some clarity in the water. If you have a muddy lake or a river, then this is probably going to be not the best thing to throw because they're going to have a hard time finding it. But if you have water depth, water clarity of 3-4 feet, this bait is going to be a go-to in early spring. The next bait to think about, and it's right around the same time, is the Lipless crankbait. It's kind of odd, you wouldn't think about it by the way this bait works, with that tight, fast vibration, fishing it fast, but this is a very good cold water bait. You can catch fish in the 40s, and you can fish this a number of ways. You can fish it up and down vertically, but you could also fish it horizontally, and both methods work. Even when the water's in that mid-high 40 range through the 50s, this is a great bait to throw. Now I've cheated a little bit in these next two. I should say in this next one category I included 2 baits. One is the spinner bait. So now we're talking about water temperatures 50 and above. This starts coming into play. Spinner bait is a great thing to throw when you have that water temperature starting to come up into the 50s. And along with the spinner bait, I'm actually grouping it together with the spinner bait, is a specialized swim jig, a specific swim jig where you have one of these types of swim baits on the back of it, like a Kitech swing impact fat, which is what this is. This thing is a killer in spring. When they don't seem to want the spinner bait, if they're a little shy of those blades, this is the next thing to throw because they eat this really well in spring. The next two come together as the water temperatures continue to increase into the 50s. You got your square bill crankbait. You got to have this bait in spring. When the window turns on for this bait, there's very few baits that are better than it in springtime, and that's that water temperature going through the 50s and into the 60s as well. And right along with that square bill crankbait, you have to consider the chatterbait. Same time that you'd throw that square bill, this chatterbait works well too. Now you could also throw this in colder water, even even in the high 40s, because you can fish this, you can jig this as well. But you could also fish it like a spinnerbait, where you're just retrieving it through the water column. And so all of these baits are ones that you should have tied on. Now there are a couple of wild cards in spring as well. What do I mean by wild cards? There's some other baits that work really well when the water's cold in the spring, and one of them is a glide bait. A large glide bait is a good thing to throw when you have these cold days. Got a car coming by here. So a glide bait is one of the wild cards. Another wild card is a swim bait, just a soft plastic or even a hard swim bait, but mainly soft plastic, where you can just reel that real slow along the bottom. It's another wild card bait that you may want to consider for springtime. And then as that water gets up a little higher into the high 50s, low 60s, a top water starts coming into play as well, like a popper or something like that. But these are the main 5. These are the 5 at this time of the year now, where the water is starting to get warmer, the bass are starting to come up, they're starting to feed to prepare for the spawn. And so they are the 5 baits of spring. Well, I'm looking forward to showing you more in detail about each one of these in future videos, but for now, those are the 5 baits. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this video, if you thought it was worthwhile. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and when you do, hit that bell. It'll give you a notification for when the next video is coming out. Until next time, be safe on the water, and as always, may God bless your fishing endeavors.